Welcome back. This is your cell and molecular biology course. Have you ever wondered what all living things have in common? The answer lies in cell theory. This video will explore the fundamental principles that govern all living organisms. Get ready to put your knowledge to the test with a quiz that will challenge you to understand these fundamental concepts. How well do you know the basics of cell theory? Let's first see the cell theory and then we will move on to the quiz. The three main principles of cell theory are all living organisms are composed of one or more cells. The cell is the basic unit of structure and function in all living organisms. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. So these are the main principles of cell theory. Now let's move on to the quiz. Instructions for the quiz. This quiz contains multiple choice questions and true or false questions. The time for each question will be approximately 15 seconds. Now let's see the quiz. Question 1. Who were the key scientists who developed the cell theory? Option A. Robert Hooke and Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Option B. Matthias Schleiden, Theodor Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow. Option C. Louis Pasteur and Alexander Fleming. Option D. Charles Darwin and Graham Mendel. Your time starts. Time's up. Let's see the answer to question 1. The answer is option B. Matthias Schleiden, Theodor Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow. Schleiden and Schwann proposed the first two principles of cell theory, and the third principle was contributed by Rudolf Virchow. Hope you all got the correct answer. Now let's move on to question 2. Which scientist is credited with first observing and naming cells? Option A. Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Option B. Robert Hooke. Option C. Matthias Schleiden. And option D. Theodor Schwann. Now let's see the answer to question 2. The answer is option B. Robert Hooke. As we have seen in earlier videos, Hooke coined the term cell after observing cork cells under a microscope. Now that was an easy question, right? Let's move on to question 3. Which of the following is not a principle of the cell theory? Option A. All living things are made up of cells. Option B. Cells are the basic units of structure and function in living organisms. Option C. All cells have a nucleus. Option D. New cells arise from pre-existing cells. Now let's see the answer for question 3. The answer is option C. All cells have a nucleus. We have seen the three main principles of cell theory in the beginning of this video. Besides that, we all know that prokaryotic cells do not have a defined nucleus. The DNA molecule of prokaryotic cells float freely in the cytoplasm, and hence all cells have a nucleus is not a statement of the cell theory. Hope you all got the correct answer. Now let's move on to question 4. Question 4 is a true or false question. The statement is that the cell theory applies to both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Is this statement true or false? Now let's see the answer to question 4. The statement is true. Both prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms are composed of cells, making cell theory applicable to both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Hope you got the correct answer. Let's move on to question 5. What is the process by which new cells are created? Option A, mitosis. Option B, photosynthesis. Option C, cellular respiration. Option D, diffusion. Now let's see the answer to question 5. Within the options given, the correct answer is option A, mitosis. Mitosis is the process by which a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells. It's a fundamental process for growth, development, and repair in multicellular organisms. Apart from mitosis, we all know that through meiosis or in prokaryotes through binary fission, new cells can be formed. But in these options, we know that we have only mitosis as a correct answer. Hope you all got the correct answer. Moving on to question 6. Who proposed the idea that all cells arise from pre-existing cells? Option A, Rudolf Virchow. Option B, Louis Pasteur. Option C, Charles Darwin. Option D, Graham Mendel. Now let's see the answer to question 6. The answer is option A, Rudolf Virchow. We have learned earlier that the statement all cells arise from pre-existing cells was proposed by Rudolf Virchow. Hope you all got the correct answer. Now that was an easy question, right? Let's see question 7. Which of the following was an important technological development that helped scientists formulate cell theory? Option A, X-ray crystallography. Option B, invention of the microscope. Option C, discovery of DNA. Option D, development of vaccines. Now let's see the answer to question 7. The answer is option B, invention of the microscope. The invention and improvement of microscopes allowed scientists to observe cells for the first time, which was crucial for the development of cell theory. About the invention of microscope, two improvisations made in microscopes. We have learnt in detail in the previous videos of this course. Hope you all have an idea about how microscope paved way for the development of cell theory. Now let's move on to question 8. It is a true or false question. The statement is that viruses are considered living organisms according to the cell theory. Is this statement true or false? Now let's see the answer. Viruses are fascinating entities that exist at the boundary between living and non-living. They are incredibly small, consisting of genetic material, either DNA or RNA, enclosed within a protein coat. While they possess genetic material and can evolve, viruses lack the cellular structure and metabolic machinery necessary for independent life. Outside of a host, they are essentially inert. To replicate, viruses must invade a host cell and they have to hijack its cellular machinery, making them obligate intracellular parasites. So, viruses are not living organisms. Moving on to question 9. What is the main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells? Option A. Prokaryotic cells have a nucleus while eukaryotic cells do not. Option B. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus while prokaryotic cells do not. Option C. Prokaryotic cells are larger than eukaryotic cells. Option D. Eukaryotic cells are simpler than prokaryotic cells. Now let's see the answer to question 9. The answer is option B. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus while prokaryotic cells do not. About the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, we saw in detail in the previous video. Hope you all had a clear idea about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells now and have given a correct answer to this question. Now let's move on to question 10. How does the cell theory provide a foundation for modern biology? Option A. It provides a unifying principle for understanding all living things. Option B. It guides research in areas like genetics and medicine. Option C. It helps us understand the causes and treatments of diseases. Option D. All of the above. Now let's see the answer to question 10. The answer is option D. All of the above. The cell theory serves as a foundational principle for modern biology in several crucial ways. This includes unifying principle, that is, the cell theory establishes that All living organisms, from the simplest bacteria to the more complex animals, are composed of cells. This provides a unifying framework for understanding the diversity of life, recognizing that despite their vast differences, all living organisms share these fundamental characteristics. The other way is in guiding research. Cell theory has guided research in various fields of biology, including genetics, medicine, and biotechnology. The other crucial way in which cell theory contributes to modern biology is that understanding of a disease. By understanding how cells function normally, we can better understand what goes wrong in a diseased state. For example, cancer is characterized by uncontrolled cell growth and division, while infectious diseases often involve interactions between pathogens and host cells. In essence, the cell theory provides a fundamental framework for understanding life at the most basic level. This understanding has profound implications for various fields of biology and has revolutionized our understanding of health and disease. Congratulations on completing the quiz on principles of cell theory. Hope you all got an idea about cell theory and this quiz was useful in testing your knowledge about the cell theory. Thank you. See you in the next video.